Alrighty guys, let's talk about the custom controller setting. Try to make it similar to PES in a way, especially the defense, right? Now, a lot of things here is a bit different. Now, if you're like the majority who struggle to adapt to the default control of it, I'll be honest with you, I was adapting to the default eFootball controller setting. After 20 years of PES was really difficult to sprint with R2 and the whole jockeying with the L2. But I managed to it. And at the end, as I explained in an updated video, that because the game lacks response, and especially for touch response, I decided to go back to sprinting with R1. And that way I thought, may as well just make my controller customized similar to PES. Now, the focus on the defense. Like, for example, on PES 21, when I was defending, my fingers were always on R1 and R2. R1 sprinting, R2 most of the time together as super cancel, trying to get, in front of a player. And R2 kind of was a jockey, didn't have the perfect stand as a matchup like eFootball, but it was sort of a jockey. I used it a lot. Most of the time, I would just use it without even doing a standing tackle. So that's one of the reasons I have my R1 as a dash and R2 as a matchup. And I have my L2 as a shoulder charge. Shoulder charge, I like to use it like most of the time when you side by side with a player and you have to go ahead of his body a little bit and then use the shoulder charge and stand and tackle. It's very successful to use it most of the time, but you give away a lot of fouls, dude. Because of the collision system, the game has a lot of problems right now. It's early code. Yes, it has potential, but anyway, let's not go to the ranting thing. I think we've ranted enough. Now, everything else, as you can see, square is pressure, right? Just like PES. Slide and tackle, and have that one as well. The one thing I may change again, teammate pressure on eFootball, it's not something you want to use as much as you used on 21, believe me. A lot of time, yeah, if my opponent struggles under pressure, I might use it. But against good players, it doesn't work the same way as 21. And maybe in another video, I'll explain the difference between teammate pressure on eFootball and PES so you would understand it better. So for me, I have the habit to always press and square. 20 years of PES. So I think personally, if you want to change your setting to PES controls, and if you're like me, you don't want to use teammate press a lot, maybe make your square button something that you would use often. For instance, change square with matchup R2, because you probably would use matchup more than teammate press, right? And I did actually played switching matchup to square. I quite like it, It was getting a little bit confused. Sometimes I think about the button more than the game itself. You know what I mean? Like, I've changed my settings a lot. I've been through that. I think I'm kind of settled with this. The only thing I might change is changing my square button to something that I use a lot, because as I said, 20 years of PES, I don't know if you're like me, my finger's always on teammate press, because teammate press was effective, and most of the time I like to play aggressive in a way, don't like defending too deep. Kind of like to play a little bit risky, really. So that is pretty much what you need to do in a way. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I do stand and tackle? Now, in this setting right here, when you choose tackle type shoulder charge, right? I have mine as a shoulder charge. So if I want to do a stand and tackle, I can just press the pressure button twice. So it's pretty simple. That's the reason why I choose it as shoulder charge. Because if I use it as stand and tackle, then I have to use L2 to do a stand and tackle. I don't know about you, but my grip is a little bit, I'm not that comfortable to have all the fingers on all the buttons. In a way, that's my grip. So that's one of the reasons it's important to have your tackle setting as a shoulder charge. Meaning that if I want to do a stand and tackle, I can just press X twice. Obviously, if I hold X, it would be a teammate press. So it just runs like headless chickens. Or I can press the matchup twice, R2. I find this one easier. So again, probably this video will get updated in the future. The game is it will be changing a lot. I predict it will be changing a lot in the future. 6 months down the line, 2, 3, who knows. Comment down below. I would like to know your controller settings. What you find better, what you find useful. Do you find matchup on a button it's more effective, or on a trigger is more effective? In a mix of everything, I'd like to know your thoughts, dudes. Comment down below. Till next time. Ciao for now.